Hey guys, JamesMCD's here, and welcome to another Cinematic Bucket List. Back in Season 4, I did a video talking about the original Karate Kid trilogy, but I left off the other two movies in the series, basically out of lack of interest. Well, since Karate Kid Legends is coming out this weekend, and I'm kind of a completionist, I figured no better time than any to knock the rest of the series out of the way. So today, I'm going to be talking about the Karate Kid Leftovers, the next Karate Kid, released in 1994, directed by Christopher Kane, and the Karate Kid remake, released in 2010, directed by Harold Zwartz. Starting with the next Karate Kid, the movie so bad it didn't even get its own DVD release. The movie follows Hilary Swank as a bratty teenager named Julie, who is being looked after by Mr. Miyagi while her grandmother is in California. As time goes on, they grow closer together, as Julie learns the fundamentals of karate, like peace and patience, and Miyagi learns how to adapt his teachings to fit a whiny teenage girl. I'm sorry if I'm coming across as really harsh right off the rip, but this movie was actively pissing me off. It honestly kind of made me rethink Karate Kid Part 3, because while that movie was just repetitive and told the exact same story as the original, only worse, this movie takes all of the worst, most nonsensical aspects of the first three and dials them up to 11. The characters, with the exception of Miyagi, are all obnoxious and awful. Julie is one of the most annoying protagonists of all time. Daniel could be annoying in the first three, but he was likable enough and came from enough of a relatable place that you still rooted for him and wanted him to succeed. They try to do the same here by clunkily explaining that Julie's parents died, but not only do they never really develop that grief, but they make her so thoroughly unlikable that you don't really care. I don't want to rag on Hilary Swank too much because even though I haven't seen a whole lot of her work, I know she's a very revered actress and she's even won multiple Oscars. Maybe she was just trying to find her footing, or maybe it was just crummy direction, or maybe it's a mix of a bunch of different things, but here she's just so whiny and obnoxious and it's awful. But maybe they thought the way to get around making her so annoying is by making every other character around her a fucking asshole. The villains in this movie are some of the most cartoonish, morally bankrupt people in any of these movies. Yeah, the previous three villains were over the top, but they still came from a somewhat grounded place. These lunatics make Hydra look like the Buttercream Gang. It's essentially this school hall monitor group led by Timu Jack Nicholson, who runs this program like an army corps. He beats up and strangles his students in broad daylight and somehow never gets fired. He seems to have connections inside the school and the police force because he encourages his students to commit crimes and terrorism with no consequences. And even his students are a bunch of psychopaths. They beat up on Julie for seemingly no reason. Even the guy who's supposed to be her love interest is kind of a dick to her. The only characters in this movie that are decent people and make the movie somewhat tolerable are Miyagi and the monks that they visit later on. Miyagi and Julie don't have nearly as good a chemistry as he had with Daniel, but the late great Pat Morita is still giving it his all here. And whenever he's not on screen, you immediately want to cut back to him because the rest of the movie is garbage. And at one point in the movie, they go to this monastery to learn the teachings from these monks, and while some of the stuff involving these guys is kind of shticky, like the dancing or challenging people to a bowling tournament, they are the only ones that gave this movie a sense of lightness and heart. Everything else about the movie was dull. The story bounces around all over the place, the character motivations are weak, the characters themselves are weak. Everything about this movie just made me mad. If you're a Karate Kid fan who just wants to complete the series, I'd still honestly say skip this movie, because it doesn't add anything, it doesn't really do anything, it's just an all-around nothing movie. I'd give it a 1.5 out of 5. Movie's so bad it forced me to hold the mic again. So, after one failed reboot, they decided to try for another reboot in 2010. Starring Jaden, can we please talk about the political and economic state of the world right now, Smith. The story follows pretty much the same story as the original, with Smith playing Dre, a 12-year-old who moves to China with his mom, and, after being bullied by these crazy students, learns kung fu from a mysterious maintenance man played by Jackie Chan, and competes in a tournament to earn respect. As remakes go, this is one of the few that manages to reach the quality of the original. I don't know if I'd say it's better than the original, and it definitely has its share of problems, but damn, did this really hold up? I'll real quickly talk about the flaws first. The most obvious one being that they call the film Karate Kid, but he's learning kung fu. I don't dock any points for this though, A, because branding, and B, because the movie presents the philosophies and teachings of Kung Fu and explains them better than the original did karate. Second, the movie is way too long. Admittedly, it does go by pretty quickly, but still, the movie did not need to be 2 hours and 20 minutes. Third, even though the movie is a bit more grounded in terms of its tone, it still lifts a lot of the corny tropes from the original, like the over-the-top bullies and the keeping the lovebirds apart for seemingly no reason. They work slightly better in the original because it isn't trying to be taken as seriously, whereas here, they don't fit as naturally. With all that said, everything else about the movie is pretty solid. I know it's fun to make fun of how up his own ass Jaden Smith has gotten, and he isn't an amazing actor, but not only does he have a natural charisma about him, but he's also pretty sympathetic. Because the move is so much further than the original, and because it's so much bigger of an adjustment, you feel all the more sorry for him when he fails to adjust and when bad shit starts happening. But that makes it all the more rewarding when he starts to grow as a fighter and overcome his problems. He also has a great connection with Jackie Chan. It's not just a typical student-teacher dynamic. They actually balance each other out, which fits with the movie's themes. You expect Jackie Chan to portray a badass kung fu master, which he does, but they also do well showing a softer side and showcasing the tragedy to him. And the performance is so strong and so well written that you feel the weight of the emotion of what's going on. The action scenes are pretty awesome too. They're very slickly shot and the choreography is just incredible. I don't have a whole lot to complain about. Outside of the issues I brought up earlier, this is a pretty damn good remake. I'd say give it a watch if you haven't seen it in a while, just maybe switch off before the Justin Bieber credit song kicks in. I'd give it a 4 out of 5. And that does it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments, what did you think of these two movies? Do you like them? Do you hate them? How do you rank the Karate Kid movies from best to worst? And are you looking forward to Karate Kid Legends coming out this weekend? Let me know all that stuff down below. I've got more videos coming real soon, but until then, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you can stay up to date on when I'm posting. Follow me on all my social medias, subscribe to my main channel. Everything you need to know will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching. I will try to get this mic stand working next time, and I'll see you later.